I've been in contact with Axel for quite a while now, and he sent me footage of his current under-17 schoolboy double. We could be shameless, famous, running cool. Yeah, you're hearing right. When I looked at this double, I thought it's pretty crazy. With the love that leaves us weightless. Two boys haven't been rowing too long and pretty new to sculling. What he told me is that
the bow seat's like 15 and the stroke seat's 16. So stroke seat's like a lightweight. He was like a novice rower last season.
The stroke seat is a lightweight. Last year was his novice season. Just look at this rowing. I mean, I'm not flattering again, but I just like beautiful stuff. And this is awesome. Just the way they use their bodies, the way they row is just excellent. Braucht ihr was?
Ja, ich wollte nur fragen, wie es ausschaut.
Den einen Bein-Row fertig machen. Schiene runter, hübsch machen, vorbereiten, wenn die Teile dann kommen, dass wir loslegen können. So basically, it's the first real attempt to form a fast sculling boat. Nice first attempt, by the way.
Yeah, we've been working on a lot of things, and I suppose for me, like flow is a really important thing, and flow and relaxation. So, kind of really treating those as kind of
flowing relaxation
for the rest of the rowing.
Good point, Axel.
And I've developed a hell of a lot throughout the season. I'll show you some like before and after. It's quite funny, but they've come a very long way, and they're actually going pretty damn fast at the minute. Like they were doing like 500 meter on, 1 minute off in that footage, and they would like banging out 139s consistently.
139s.
For a 17.
Axel asked for some feedback, and any coach out there right now watching this will probably know that if you work with athletes, it is very difficult to break the habit. As a coach, you always talk one language. There is no other way. And I don't mean English, German, French, whatever. I mean the way you say things, the way you explain things. Athletes just seem to become almost immune to the things you want to say. You have to be quite agile about the words you choose, the language you choose, the way you put things. You have to do different wordings, but eventually sometimes it just helps to get an outside opinion. And this is exactly what Axel asked me to do. Now, let's establish the facts once more. These boys are 15 and 16 years old. 15 and 16, I mean, this is awesome. The session that you are watching right now is 500 meters on, 1 minute off. And they consistently put out splits of 139 over a 500 meter. That's really fast. You can see they're working, you can see they're suffering. One thing that strikes me to be awesome is the way they use their upper body masses. And if you remember the 2012 Olympic Games race, where the Kiwi double won gold from being, I think, in 5th place at the 500 or 800 meter mark. New Zealand has quite some pedigree in that boat class. Axel told me in his Instagram voice message that he takes particular care of an easy flow of motion and rhythm. And you can see this. He doesn't think stroke by stroke. He thinks of the combination of all strokes. And this is exactly what makes the difference. You know, rowing is not about one perfect stroke and then you take the next one. No. It's a flow, a continuous flow of motion. That's a very good point. And this is exactly the shot I was looking for. You see how their shoulders are actually not rotating backward. They're almost formed like a cave, which means the center of the core here accelerates the boat. And at this point of the stroke, you see a full connection. You see an activated quadriceps. You can definitely tell that there's connection to the foot plates right there. And at the same time, they do not make the mistake to rotate their shoulders backwards, but they actually keep the shoulders where they are. And this is a mistake I've seen a lot with under 18 scullers, that they tend to rotate the shoulders back at a point of time where it's just useless, it's not effective anymore. And this is true for both athletes. You know, the bow guy could actually put his elbows a bit more to the side. That would be all right. You can see the force vector coming in straight, coming to the side here is a bit off. If you had your elbows a bit more up, so which means a bit more up and a bit higher and a bit more to the side, you would have that straight line from the oar you hold to the direction of pull. If you have it here, it's going to be challenging because you always have to pull at an angle. If you can pull at 90 degrees, that's much easier. The stroke eye almost has a 90-degree angle right there. This is super effective. It just takes less effort to transfer the force from the foot plates, from the foot stretchers onto your blades, because you have less angles you have to overcome. When they start to drive, they can keep, oh, there's a bit of a difference. There is a bit of a difference. Straight line, straight line down, all right. So looking for this angle right here. Okay, there's a difference in force development. Well, the stroke guy starts to pivot the upper body right from the catch. The bow guy is a bit more patient. So there is a difference in force distribution. And if you notice, just before we talked about the finish, at the finish you will see the bow guy leaving the water slightly earlier. You may say, all right, that's a height different things. No, I don't think it has so much to do with height. It has more to do with how you start to enter the water. Let's go back a couple of strokes. They're in at about the same time. And if you have a longer solid leg drive before the upper body starts to shorten the angle, because if you pivot up at the catch, you're going to shorten the stroke. Because instead of extending the stroke at the finish, using leg drive and then pivot, if you pivot too early, you basically add a vertical component to the stroke at the cost of a horizontal component. And this is exactly what the stroke guy is doing here. I recommend to keep the upper body a bit longer in position and possibly ease into the catch for the first 10 centimeters or so. It's not like even in a tough race situation like this, you do not have to be super strong and effective right from the start. You should take your time and you should not try to kill it from the catch on. And the most effective part of the drive is around the center part, so around the part where your oar is in perpendicular position to your boat, so around the 90-degree angle. And at the catch, you do have the greatest momentum, but also the greatest load for the body. And by this I mean very simply, if you try to apply a lot of force at the catch, here, the boat tends to be about the slowest, not quite. Just before you catch, it's about the quickest, but with this, let's call it a turnaround motion, if you don't get it 100% right, the boat slows down quite a lot. And the moment you put the blade in the water, you happen to create you feel a lot of momentum. And that momentum basically is like torque, and the body has to be able to cope with that torque and momentum. I know a couple of people will post, there's a difference between torque and momentum. It's the load you feel on the body. It's the amount of force you have to cope with. And if you kick too hard with your legs at the catch, the body will not be able to handle that. So you're going to overload a lot of parts of your body, in particular shoulders, the lower back, not so much because you have very well positioned, and you're going to overload the entire, also the abs, so basically everything that stabilizes. I talked about this in last Saturday's Zoom live session. At the beginning of the drive, it's all about taking your time. I'm not big at shooting guns or shooting pistols, but I've seen once a video by a German Special Forces guy who basically said the trick is to be very quick, but at the same time, if you want to be precise in shooting, take your time when you pull the trigger the first millimeter or so. So it's like, it's an ease in, but rapidly done. And the catch at a rowing stroke is precisely the same thing. If you kick too hard, parts are overloaded of your body, and therefore the body has to find new ways, has to be creative in how to stabilize this thing now. And you stabilize it by simply creating some extra motion. It's easy to stabilize a body by creating a motion that relieves you a bit of from the force that applies and works on your body. And this is exactly what the stroke guy is doing. Solution, take it easy for the first 5-6 centimeters and see the force pickup. Don't aim for a force pickup that looks like this, if this were a force curve, but aim for something that is like this. But the way, and this is excellent, guys, but the way you have your shoulders relaxed here, you see? Super relaxed shoulders. not tightened up at all. Ironically, the more you want to have a force pickup that looks like this, the less leg power you have to apply. You know, sounds ambiguous, but this is exactly what it's like. And if you roll the biro, you have force curves, and just put a camera on the side, look at yourself. You will see that the moment you start to relax your shoulders and the easier you are with your legs, in other terms, the more you try to feel how much your body can handle at that point of the stroke and what the speed of the boat allows you to apply, the faster the force curve is going to go up with less effort.
What?
Ironically, the more you want to have a force pickup that looks like this, the less leg power you have to apply. You know, sounds ambiguous, but this is exactly what it's like. And if you roll the biro, you have force curves, and just put a camera on the side, look at yourself. The moment you start to relax your shoulders and the easier you are with your legs, in other terms, the more you try to feel how much your body can handle at that point of the stroke and what the speed of the boat allows you to apply, the faster the force curve is going to go up with less effort. If you feel in the race that your legs become wasted very quickly, then it is very likely the case that you are wasting energy, because usually your legs should not be able to tire so quickly compared to the rest of your body. So, but this means the following thing: your legs push very hard, but your upper body has to be able to handle this. Shouldn't, you know, your legs carry your body all day long. Shouldn't your upper body become tired first? Say, oh, well, stroke is 80% leg drive. That's true. That's true. But if you see things like this, and you know, the stroke I wrote is beautiful, but at the same time, you know that there's too much leg power applied because the body can't handle it, because the upper body pivots upward, because it's trying to compensate the force, then you know that there is power applied that is not being able to transfer it into boat speed immediately, not even indirectly. It only compromises your body position, and this makes your legs tired. So it doesn't make your upper body that much tired. The upper body just moves out of the way by pivoting upward. This is exactly what's happening. And this is going to waste your legs. It creates a lot of lactate within your body that is not necessary to be created, and it makes you tired for, you know, the second half of a 2K race. So be careful about this. Generally speaking, the way you apply force at the catch, both of you, is excellent because the shoulders are relaxed. So you try to move with the boat. It's not so much that you are moving yourself, you're trying to move the boat, and you have your shoulders loose. This is excellent. You also see this, and I often talked about this, and this is a very nice, it's a good footage because guys are rowing without shirts. Check the lats. The lats are coming out quite badly here, and these should be the muscles engaged, not the shoulders. You don't want to roll like this. You don't want to roll like this. You want to be loose and have the lats active. It's a different. My shoulders, even with the white shirt I have right now, you can see shoulders, one thing, low and active, and you see the lats immediately come out. And this is exactly what's required. The shoulders should not interfere with force coming straight down from the arms into the lat being more or less straight connected to the torso, and this is the part of your body that's going to transfer everything from the legs. So the quicker you get into your core of the body, this is why it's called core. One thing that strikes me to be inefficient is the following. Just before they move forward, both of you are trying to get extra reach. And this is something that compresses your lungs, and there's not much, you know, at that point of the drive, at that point of recovery, my apologies, you should be in a very relaxed position. And you guys are fighting your way up to the catch, so that's not effective. First problem I see here is, let me get it red. There's a difference between the lower back and about midway the upper section of the back, also here. And this being the case tells me that your hip right here, gentlemen, is not flexible enough. So try to bring your shoulders a little back, or in other ways, don't try to bring your shoulders so much forward. That's about enough. But you're trying to push forward with the shoulders, but don't do that. Stop, stop, stop. Don't do that. Rather try to bring your hip forward. And with this, I mean the lowest part of your body. You know? So instead of doing this, be straight. Right now it looks like this. Do this. You know, that part here, this flexibility is what you need. And with this, you basically pave the way for a nice pivot. By the way, guys, is this a palm tree? Yeah, my wife probably knows, but is this a palm? You know, we have -3 degrees now in March in Austria. It's not very nice. I envy you, just by the way, side note. I know, not important, but for me it is. Guys, the problem here is that you are compressing your lungs, so it's hard to breathe. At the same time, you tighten up way too much here, and you can see that your hands, you have almost extended arms trying to push down, and this is not as effective as it could be. Because if your hips were rotated forward, most of your weight would be on your seat. And with this weight being on the seat, you don't have to push down so hard and try to rest the upper section of the trunk. You know, this weight needs to be supported somehow. At the same time, you want to keep a straight back, so you have to support that upper body weight right here. And the problem with this is that the only way to get rid of that upper body weight from the blades is to compromise your upper body position. So this should not be the case. And you see the result of this right now before the catch. Your blades have to, last couple, you know, your blades are almost touching the water now. There's almost no space between your blades and the water. And at that point of the recovery, if the water is not so flat, you have a problem. You say, okay, yeah, but then we get our blades off the water. That's not so easily done, because if your blades are too close to the water and you row comfortably right now, and you have to get your blades off the water finally, it's gonna change the way you row, because the blade position has a huge effect on the body position, and vice versa. The body position has a huge effect on the blade position. You cannot really say, okay, I do the same thing, just get the blades off the water. It doesn't work. It's one unit. If you row, you're one unit with every little piece of equipment you have in this boat. This is where you need to be more consequent. And it starts right here. The way you move forward is beautiful. You actively move everything forward, but you don't follow through. Your knees bend a little too early. You get rid of tension in your hamstrings a little too early. You're missing the second acceleration phase just a bit. You do have quite some of it, but not everything. Not everything. Because you're not in full control. I talked about this in last week's video when I did a video analysis on Onat Kazak, the Turkish Olympic qualifying candidate. I think you guys are doing a bit of a better job, but you don't follow through completely. This can be better. Both of you are compensating at different points of time. And you think just the drive has to be synchronized. That's not true. The recovery has to be synchronized as well. I think that's about equally important. And your body angles should not be as off as they are right now. This is almost straight. This is actually straight, but the upper section of the upper body is pointing forward. I know you guys are 15 and 16, but hey, you're fast, you know. Let's just make it perfect. And if we follow you on the way forward, now the bow guy is starting to bend a bit more forward. And now you can see that the lungs are starting to be compressed. There's not much. If you do this, just sit at home, sit in your chair, if you drive, don't do that. But I don't have to make these disclaimers. Just do this. And now try to have a very nice, just breathe in and relax. Doesn't feel good, does it? Now try to pivot your hip forward, loosen up your shoulders, reach wide, breathe in. Yeah, that's perfect. It's like Buddha, it's awesome. You've got a lot of space. And this is exactly where you should be just before the catch. It's called recovery for two reasons, because your body has time to recover. You accelerate the boat without working so much. but also you recover the boat underneath yourself. You're trying to pull it underneath yourself. You, instead of sending it, you recover it, you retract it underneath your body to send it again. You know, drive, send, recover, pull it underneath yourself. It's going to be a pretty long video, but interesting topic. Let's just follow this a little further. Yeah, and this is where you end up. Lack of support. Let's just delete all these lines, get some new color. How do I like? Let's just pick some green again. All right. And this is where you end up at a point of time where your upper bodies just are slumped over. Your lungs having difficulties to breathe, to expand, and at the same time, too much weight on the blades, too much weight on the oar handles, and you will see the result right now. There's a long pause. You're still, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting, and now the drive starts. At the point of time where you're waiting, you could be doing this. That's all it takes as a catch. And you also see this, that you're compensating in multiple ways. First of all, you're starting to move your seat out without moving the blades. And this is true for both. See? Now there's a quick force connection. But it's not necessary to wait that long. And you're losing speed just ever so slightly every time at the catch. Let's just go back. You're ready. And now the drive starts. If you sit at home now and you wonder what on earth is there to complain about, I'm interested in creating top speed. This is what motivates me to make these videos. I want to help people become as fast as they can possibly be with my ideas. Doesn't mean I'm 100% right, but I like to contribute. And I think this is something that can be changed in order to make this boat a little faster. It looks about perfect, but you see the body position changes here. And additionally, it takes a lot of energy right here and right there. And you can see the muscles contracting heavily just to hold that position. And you will see it is actually not possible to hold that position because there is a slight struggle, hold, and this could be effortless. Let's look at the bow guy specifically. So from this compressed position, you have to get your blades into the water, and you do so in order not to lose time by moving out the seat ever so slightly. You see this? Dip, moves out now. Bit of an empty motion. The blade is not quite in the water, seats move out. In terms of force curves, this is not bad because actually, shooting the slides, moving your seat first creates better force curves. But it's unnecessary motion, also not enough space to breathe. So these are the two main parts that make you slower right now than you could be. For the rest, if we were looking at this and say, okay, does it look good or not? It does. It does. Some points I like about this. The way you understand, despite all odds I just talked about, how to hold your body. The way you start the leg drive simultaneously. The way you're able to avoid bow guy. Upper body pivot at an early stage as much as possible. You cannot really do without it because the way you prepare it. And of course it shortens your stroke and it creates a peak of force about here. So if I had to guess your force curves, you would have right here and there would be a pretty long deceleration. It's not deceleration, but it's certainly not acceleration. So this is the catch. This is the finish. I'm drawing in an angle, but you know what I mean. So you probably have a pretty steep incline of force altogether now here, and this is where you deteriorate. So this part could be possible if you had a better preparation. If preparation were better, you probably have a force curve a bit like this, and a bit more of a plateau. And that little bit would make you infinitely faster with less effort. But again, what is absolutely to be liked about this is the way you patiently wait for the main part of the upper body pivot. And this is right here. And what is also very, very good is how you don't overdo it with your arms. Bow guy maybe does a bit too much, moves down. But that downward motion of the upper body is a result of the upward motion at the catch. But this upward motion here has its effect right there. So this part here is largely caused by this preparation, lean forward here. You can compensate as much as you want. You have to pivot a little upward, and you stabilize with a consistent pivot motion. So if you guys were able to prepare better, you could have a leg drive with less effort. You could keep your upper body in position longer and have a more unified upper body swing. And this is where you're lacking speed at the moment. And for the stroke guy, it looks better. It definitely does. But you're compensating here a lot with your shoulders staying forward, which is a good thing, but you're leaving the water a bit early. And the reason why you leave the water early is because of your preparation here. Shoulder girdle weight on your oar handles, trying to get forward, and then driving. And you have to consider right now, you are not at your physical peak. So the stronger you will become, the more watts you're able to pull, the more this part here is going to suffer. First, the muscles will become tired, and eventually you may have back issues here. So you have to be careful about how you prepare your body. And the same is true for the bow guy. But for the rest, Axel, congratulations. And I know you have not worked with this boat very long, and how far you got them is awesome. It's just beautiful. Generally, what we can learn from them is the patience with the upper body. The preparation is something you cannot undo during the drive. But what you do very well is understand it's that joint pivot that gets the party going. Yeah, excellent. All right, guys, Axel, wish you all the best for the championships in 10 days. And I'm looking forward to see more footage of that double, because I'm pretty sure it's going to go a long way. All right, if it was helpful, let me know, share the video, subscribe, send me a message. Have a good day. Bye-bye.